Greetings, fellow seekers. And so, what I thought I'd do today is just share with you some of the resources that are inside the book so that you just don't go in blind. I mean, it's all very well for me to say I've got this free book, but what's in it? It could be an unexploded bomb of tasteless hackery, for all you know. So, I'm going to share some of the information that is inside. And the book starts with encouraging you as a personal development aficionado or as a potential coach to consider who you are. And the reason I do this is because who you are eventually will bring out to you what your niche is or who your tribe is. So I've got 5 main subtypes of coaching approach here. And they include the listener, the strategist, the motivator, the visualizer, and the problem solver. And what's interesting about these is that many of these different categories of coaching approach match in very subtle ways specific market areas or specific kinds of coachee. For example, the listener, you're the person who can get people to open up. A listener is very good at encouraging people to mine deeply, to look deeply into themselves and to come up with solutions and insights that they might not know that they're carrying. The other thing, of course, is that being a listener is a crucial coaching skill. And so I might suggest to you that to be a listener, a good listener, is a bedrock of good coaching. However, not everybody wants to be listened to all the time, because just as coaches come with different kinds of personalities, so do coachees. And so going on from the listener, another sub-tribe of coach is the strategist. And of course, you can see already that a strategist might be useful as a business coach, for example. A strategist is going to be somebody who can see patterns that others miss. I encourage those that I work with in supervision to detect patterns and triggers, for example. And so being able to detect patterns and encourage a coachee to detect patterns is a great way to unlock some of the things that have been getting in their way. So strategists, they can break big problems down into bite-sized chunks. You might be a strategist because you're good at looking at structured outcomes and designing ways forward for a person, which is going to break large tasks into more manageable ones. So that's the strategist. Followed quickly by the motivator. And I have made a few posts about how motivation is nonsense. So now it's time for me to qualify and backtrack from that a little bit. What I mean when I say motivation is nonsense is that motivation on its own as a nebulous idea, which a lot of people wait for, like inspiration, isn't going to get anybody anywhere. However, a coach who is a motivator is somebody who can detect what triggers success for a person. A motivator can unravel end goals and encourage a coachee to go towards those goals. And also they can reverse engineer the kinds of steps required to ensure that success will happen. Caveat time. Motivation alone may not be the way forward. However, having goals may be a great way to implement success, as long as you know that the goal itself isn't always going to be the end product. The real interest is going to be the journey towards the goal that you're seeking. What do you think? Have you set up goals for yourself and fallen short and then looked back and realized that the journey was more interesting than the actual outcome? Because often we set up goals for ourselves and we're not the same person when we get to where we think we were going. life goes on, you know. I think it was John Lennon who said that life is what happens to us when we're busy making other plans. Next, we have the visualizer, number 4 in my list, here in the old coaching backpack first book. The visualizer is somebody who can see a bigger picture. And that's an important skill for a coach to have, especially if you're dealing with somebody who may be getting in their own way a lot. It's very frustrating to encounter people who have huge potential, but they themselves can't see the vision. Often people who are naturally talented, because they've never had to work for the thing that they're good at, find it very difficult to go forward and enhance and develop and refine their skills because they've never had to do the hard work. A visualizer is a useful kind of coach because they can show how good the results can be, and they can set out a roadmap for a person. You might be a visualizer yourself. A close friend of mine is a visualizer. He's the one who's always calling me up and telling me that it's time to get on with something. And finally, we have the problem solver. Now, the problem solver, as a coach, I hasten to add, is problematic, ironically perhaps. And the reason I say that a problem solver as a coach can be problematic is that we don't want to be the crutch. We don't want to be the Zimmer frame. So being a problem solver means that as a coach, it is better to detect the problems, to illustrate the nature of the problems, and then encourage the potential coachee to work out ways for themselves to overcome those problems. So what you're looking at is the ability to ask tough questions. You're looking at the ability to listen to the answers in a patient manner when they are brought forth. And you have to be aware that if a person were able to answer these questions for themselves straight away, they wouldn't need a coach. Which brings me to another area here as well, is a lot of people mistakenly think that coaching is for the weak, or the ones who are at the back of the herd limping away, waiting to be picked off by the predators. Well, it's not the case. In my experience, the people who best function as coachees are often strong people. And they're strong people who have detected there is a piece of the jigsaw missing, and they just need a bit of help to find that piece of the jigsaw and place it into the overall picture of their life so that they can get unstuck. So if you're considering becoming a coach, or you're considering becoming a coachee, I want you to understand that this is not a sign of fallibility. This is a sign of strength and determination. You might be asking, how can the coaching backpack start before you're ready? How can that help me to decide whether I want to become a coach? Well, I would suggest that one way is that it can assist you to work out what your core lane, or what mixture of core lanes you might be. You might be a sports coach because you're a motivator. You might be a business coach because you're a strategist. You may be a relationship coach because you're a listener. You may be somebody who can work with creative types because you're a visualizer. And you may be somebody who can help somebody else get unstuck because you're a problem solver. If you want to find out what your style is, download the book and have a look at, so I think it's page 3. There is a questionnaire there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to download these questionnaires on the page, these 2 pages anyway, as a separate PDF. So if you don't want to go into the book and take the whole book, that's cool. Nobody's forcing anybody here. You can actually just have a go with the PDF and see if you can work out what kind of coaching style or coachee style would best appeal to you. The benefits to you of this are that it's going to indicate to you who your tribe is. It's going to point out to you a little bit more about who best to gravitate to if you want to take those interesting, crucial steps forward in your own personal development. So the coaching backpack is a little bit of a confused endeavor because it isn't just for coaches. I've designed it for people of an age who wish to pivot or who are asking questions about themselves and about their lives. And it may be that you want to become a graphic designer and you are currently working with people as a social worker. Cool. I'm not trying to force people into the coaching industry. What I'm trying to do is share some of the benefits that the coaching industry can provide to assist people to get out of their own way. So, third and final pitch. Check out the link. Have a look at the coaching backpack, which is completely free. I think there are about 23 pages of very sound advice. And next time I go long form, I will print out another couple of pages. I'll describe them to you. And if you want to make any comments or you want to ask any questions, please feel free. That's why YouTube has a comment box after all. Keep it clean, people, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I will respond to as many of you as I can. And I look forward to speaking to you again in the very near future. Remember, whatever you dare to do or believe, begin it now.